There's another one. No, sorry. 2 wild cards tonight. I don't have delivery for that one, but I think it's a wild card. But anyway, we are here for the formation sector. And Steve-O is on the front row alongside Hoggy. And it's going to be quite an interesting race start here in Barcelona. So here we go as they round the final corner and towards the straight. So here we go then. Here in Fargone Racing GT Challenge for Season 22. It's round number 4 here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The green flags are ready to fly, the green lights are ready to illuminate, and we're underway for racing action in Spain. Steve-O getting off to a good start, but here comes the BMW of Longy coming around the outside and towards turn 1, using all the power that the BMW has in a straight line and off the line. He's on the outside, but Steve-O just about holds on. Meanwhile, Nick and Perkins are going wheel to wheel in the background as they go wheel to wheel as they head up the hill through the long right-hander. They're absolutely going at it at the moment. Actually, no, sorry. Was it Perkins? No. No, it wasn't Perkins he was wheel to wheel with. It was the Lexus. I actually can't see that. The Speed Racer there on the timing tower. It took a second to pop up. And Longy making places off the start. A fantastic getaway. Hoggy as well did drop a place, however, with the Ferrari's launch off the line. That wasn't the worst start imaginable. And Piranat trying to pressure as well further down the back, but Steve-O taking away this race so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hoggy just kind of got caught out there a little bit. I don't think he was fully prepared for that green light to go out, and obviously Steve-O controlling the pace there obviously had the full preparation that he needed there for it to go. Oh, as Hoggy goes very deep into that turn 10 hairpin there. Prone overtaking spot, Lindsay, as now we come up the hill. This is also another thing of the old Spain layout. ACC doesn't have the new one with the reprofiled turn 10. You rise up that hill, very easy to lose your rear end, and now we're going into the final sector chicane. Very hard on the brake, get it tipped into the right, and now you've got to set the car up again. Bring it to the right, set up the chicane, left and right. Use the sausage curb, carry the exit speed that you need, because this is very important. This sets up your run down the main straight. And by the looks of it, I don't see anyone relatively close. That Ford Mustang was getting very out of shape there. In the distance, Speed Racer in the Lexus though, right behind the BMW of Perkins into turn 1. Will we see a move by the Lexus? I don't think he's close enough. Oh, as he gets very close to the back there. I almost thought he wasn't going to go for the move there, but he caught up a lot under brakes there. Actually, our good friend, Tobias back there in the Ford Mustang Speed Racer now has a BMW of Nick right on his rear bumper as the front 3 are broken away.
Yep, and now as they head in towards turn number 4, getting quite close now between Speed Racer and Nick. I think the BMW might want to stick a nose up the inside, but the Lexus a very tricky car to overtake as well. Perkins was quite struggling through turn 3, ran off the circuit, and GT cars turn 3 is a very difficult corner. You got to balance the throttle and the brake a little bit until you get through the apex, and then even then sometimes when you power it out, the car just doesn't want to stick to the ground and you end up on the outside AstroTurf. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge for these drivers. As MJ on the slide in through turn 9 and towards turn 10. Here we go. He gets an absolutely brilliant run despite the slide. He's going to look up the inside now. No, he shows the nose, doesn't quite commit to the move here as they head through the very tight hairpin. And I'll tell you what, I do quite miss this version of the hairpin. It was very fun for overtaking, and it is absolutely phenomenal here, especially in GT cars. I think maybe in an open wheel car, the new turn 10 is better, but yeah, I think the old turn 10 is better in a GT car. However, this chicane, no matter the category, can absolutely get stuffed as far as I'm concerned. However, they are going to have to deal with it here tonight, and MJ has a good run, but I think the eyes should go to Speed Racer. As much as he's not close to Perkins, he's under a bit of pressure, but he has a lot of straight line speed as well. This battle could be very close. The leaders as well, fairly close, as Longy is under pressure from Hoggy. So a couple of battles going on simultaneously here.
Yeah, absolutely there. So the front 3 have broken away, clear difference in pace, a gap of 4.3 seconds already. So Perkins has he's got to defend for himself here as he takes a very wide line there to turn 3, Lindsay. You were speaking about turn 3 there, actually, in a GT3 car. There's 2 ways you can take it. You can take the wide line and get in front really early, carry the speed, but you may harm yourself there because you take too much distance in front. Oh, that's the BMW there. Vida Nick looking to the inside of Speed Racer there. And now we've got MJ in the McLaren. Does he want to look to the inside? No, he does not. MJ just doesn't seem to be all that confident on the brake pedal here. I think might be struggling to press the brakes hard in that McLaren. Obviously, in a GT3 car, you don't really have the risk of locking. You don't have the risk of locking front tires or anything like that because you have the ABS system, anti-lock brake system, as it's formally called, which basically just prevents the tires from locking up front and rear. So that's not really the risk here. What he doesn't want to do is go in too deep and either don't use the ABS enough, as I believe that's the risk. As you get so close to the back of the BMW there. That's always going to happen. Concertina effects are very common going into sharp hairpins like that, Lindsay, and I don't particularly disagree with you there. That old hairpin, I did not mind that for racing side of things. Unfortunately, we can blame Formula One for getting that corner opened very, very widely. Oh, that's a BMW going very, very wide. It looks like Perkins did not get the best of runs as Ethan Nick pulls into the pit lane. That's a very early pit stop, Lindsay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that sets him up quite weirdly, but a couple of people are copying him. So, as well, that is Hoggy, who decided to come into the pits too. That's really interesting strategically. Obviously, they only have 2 sets of tyres that they have to take over the whole night. So this means they're saving these tyres for the second race. Does that mean they'll then... Oh, as Hoggy overshoots his marks. Does that mean then that Hoggy and the rest of the people who are boxing now will use these tyres for the majority of the next race? And then, so be maybe until the pit windows open on the old tyres, be really slow off the start, box to these new tyres, and then take it all the way to the end? Or in race 2, or does this mean... I don't know. There's so many variable factors now because they have to use both tyres in both races, and they're effectively just killing this set of tyres. You've got to imagine they'll be starting on these or ending on these in the first or final 5 minutes of race number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if I had to guess, I would presume that the best strategy forward, considering that they've gone for this undercut now, I'm assuming that's what they're doing here. Or, if they're not going for an undercut, what they're simply doing here, Lindsay, I think it's smart. Oh, it's actually, we got action here. Down the inside goes the McLaren of MJ on Speed Racer. Does he get the move done? No, he doesn't. That's a Honda. Is that a Honda? No, that's a Porsche going very, very wide. It's a Piranha going very, very wide. I think Perkins was on the inside. But we have a side-by-side action battle here, though, through turn 11 here.
Oh, there's contact!
There is contact. Oh, the Lexus of Speed Racer there just moved across on MJ there on the entry to the corner. Not exactly fully aware that MJ had his car placed there. MJ definitely not in the wrong in that scenario there. He was on the outside of the track, and I just don't think Speed Racer was completely aware of that. But we'll see down this next straight here. We've got the Porsche of Piranha on the back of Perkins, and he's gaining, and he is gaining, and he is gaining on the BMW. He moves to the inside line. Does he want to cover it off? But here goes the Porsche. No, he does not. He thinks better of it. Damping Piranha thinks better of it, and I believe Speed Racer in the background maintains position. Oh, as a goodness me, they're getting very close together, these two. So, goodness me, Lindsay, we look away for 1 second and everything's unraveling here. I've got absolutely no idea how any of this actually happened, but fair play, keep on going. So through turn, as the Porsche goes very, very wide through turn 4 there. That's not exactly going to help him there. On the run down to turn 5. Hard braking zone here to this hairpin here. It's quite a long hairpin. You're leaning on the front tire for quite a fair bit. This is where your front tire will scream just a little bit throughout the race as the race goes on and the tire wears. You're turning for so long for that hairpin. The front right really getting workout there. Gets a good workout through here too, actually. This track, being very, very high speed, is very, very harsh on front tires rather than the rears because it's so many fast, sweeping, long, prolonged corners where the front tire is just working constantly. So, is there an option, Lindsay, in ACC to just take front tires? Because I feel like if they're going to do tire swaps, then I surely would think that the front tires would just be sort of your only option, really, if you wanted to cut it short.
No.
Unless you can't do that.
No, so you can't do that here on ACCs. That's a little bit wide from Perkins, but just to touch on 2 things. One, by the way, you're talking about the MJ's braking earlier. He's in the McLaren. The McLaren has absolutely no brakes, so That is absolutely why that McLaren is so bad on the brakes. It's unbelievable. But just to talk about the tyre wear. The tyre wear around here, very, very high. There's a lot of graining at this circuit, as you were saying. However, an aiding factor for these drivers is the fact that it might not be as high as usual. It's a night. It's very cold. The track is very gripped up, but it's only 20 degrees. So this track is pretty much in an optimal window. We'll be seeing the fastest lap times possible, basically, here throughout race 1 and potentially race 2 as well. I know I did a GT3 race around here. It was about an hour and 20 minutes, and it was in 55-degree track, and the tyres after 3 laps were melted. So, yeah, I think that it is all not too bad for these drivers here. I think the front graining could be a little bit bad, especially the front left tyre because of turn 3, but I don't think tyre wear is going to be too big here tonight, but still definitely a factor with only 2 sets of tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. You make a very good point there about the track condition there, and I think, to be honest, in a 55-degree track, I think any tyre will be melted in 3 laps, by the way. That is absolutely cool.
Oh!
That's a Porsche going very, very sideways. You touched on it before the race, Lindsay. A Porsche loves to do Porsche things. Oh, as goodness me, he just rejoins in front of the McLaren there of MJ. MJ will breeze past, and that's Piranat down 2 positions. So, yep. Porsche doing exactly what it does best. A random snap of oversteer. Yes, thank you, please. All in one. As I just want to touch on, Lindsay, the strategy we were talking about earlier, as Hoggy sets the fastest lap of the race. With the strategy, because you were asking the question about what potentially could they be doing, I feel like there are 2 ways you play with how the 2 sets of tyres work. You can do literally a 50-50 dead even split. You pit halfway through, and both your sets of tyres going into race 2 have the same number of laps remaining on them, and you just have to play the cards of your box halfway through, or you can do a slight offset or a slight undercut. Either way, that's one option. Your other option is that you do what Hoggy's done here. Absolutely destroy 1 set of tires. Maybe he doesn't, but put a lot more life on 1 set of tires and keep 1 very, very fresh. Start on the worn set, and then, or maybe start on the good set and try and break away as soon as you can. Because Hoggy's starting in the front, Lindsay, so it's not unrealistic for him to try and use a new set of tyres to maybe get out and get ahead. Because that strategy was used by Charles Leclerc, actually, at the recent US Grand Prix. He started on the soft tyre, and it helped him get ahead of Norris on the first lap. Ultimately, it wasn't the fastest, but it gave him the track position, which potentially could be Hoggy's strategy here.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I just don't know. What I was basically asking is I don't know whether they'll be starting on the new tyres and then going pretty much all the way until just before the pit window closes, then going to bad tyres, which could compromise them and lead them into being under pressure in the final 2 laps of the race. Or are they going to start on the old tyres, suffer for like 3 to 5 minutes before the pit window opens, and then box and have better tyres for the rest of the race? That's the main thing I'm asking, but I don't know how effective that strategy is going to be. Obviously, it's all to find out. That's part of the reason we have this sort of format. It's so the likes of Hoggy can be a dark horse and really get into it. But Stephen Rees not doing that. He clearly doesn't think that's the best strategy. And normally, when it comes to strategy calls, Steve-O is pretty on it.
Yeah, well, Lindsay, I'm looking lap times as I've just flicked through the cars there. Steve-O just did a 1:44.9. Hoggy's on a 1:44.1. So that's an 8/10 lap difference there. Don't know if Steve-O's saving his tyres, or that the new tyre of Hoggy is simply just that good, or maybe there's been mistakes, etc, etc. There's lots of variables to it, but Hoggy is motoring along currently, and I think theoretically he will take the lead in this race as it currently stands.
Yeah, and then Steve-O will have better race tyres towards the end, which could help him catch back up and overtake. It doesn't look like, I mean, Steve-O's using all the track obviously, but you still do that regardless. I don't think Steve-O's pushing overly hard at the moment on his tyres. I mean, he's not pushing. He never isn't not pushing, but he's just being very, very, like, safe with the way he's driving the tyre. I say that and he's on the slide, but yeah, I think he is trying to protect the tyre.
Well, he's driving a Porsche, so protecting your rear tyres is kind of a very hard ask.
Not possible.
So, yeah, it's not possible. Yeah, correct. So, Hoggy on the last lap, 44.1 once again. Don't know what Steve-O did. Actually, I don't even think they've crossed the line yet. Sorry, that's my bad. Where is Steve-O on the track? Steve-O's coming around to the chicane now. So let's see what lap time he does there. He just struggled to get to that apex there. Might be struggling a bit more on the stage of the race. Doesn't look like he's particularly pushing. He's still got Andrew Long right behind him, so Andrew's cruising along nicely in the BMW. I think the BMW will be nice from its tyres compared to the Porsche. And let's see, Steve O'Rees to the line does a 45-1. And I believe Hoggy will be coming through one of the later stages. No, Hoggy's only in Sector 2 right now, so they're quite different on the road, actually. So, a lot to play out here, but Hoggy definitely seems to have the pace, if that's what the tyre offset is. Or maybe there's just a simple difference in how hard they're pushing. It sets up for an almighty finish, potentially, towards the end of the race, because we could very well see the opposite here from Steve O'Rees here, Lindsay, because we saw Hoggy and those other guys pit very, very early. We could very well see Steve O'Rees do the opposite and say, I'm going to box as late as possible, but then they'll have the same sort of tyre offset to each other going into race 2.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. It's going to be really, really interesting and to see how this turns out. I think this race isn't going to be as affected by that and the difference in strategy, but I think race 2 is going to be really, really, really interesting in the way that it turns out with the strategy. I think that we won't know. It's going to be a little bit of a blind guess until we see the drivers out on the track. And I'll tell you what, as much as this grid has spaced out a tiny bit at the moment, I was expecting it to space out more. We still have some battling on the track. The midfield's been fantastic. And despite the fact that we have a smaller grid here tonight, this race is pretty well delivering so far. And I think race 2 will be even better with the strategy.
Yeah, also, Lindsay, just quickly, if you can, I would like to see a lap time update of Hoggy here, as Hoggy's just crossed the line once again.
I can tell you.
Turn 4.
He did a 43.9 on the last lap to a Steve-O 44.4.
Oh, Steve-O did a 44.4. Okay, yeah, right. Right, so still half a second difference. But Steve-O did a 45.1 before that, so wow, okay. So clearly, as you mentioned, Steve-O must have just been saving the tyre, but now he might be wanting to push on a bit more. Hoggy's still got a massive benefit. We don't know if that's because of the tyre, but I think that it could potentially be influenced by that. Potentially.
Yeah, I think so, as MJ is getting quite close behind Speed Racer here for a battle in the midfield. But yeah, I think Steve-O's going to box quite far towards the end. Considering he didn't box at that sort of halfway point, I think that it is going to be all the way towards the end and doing the same thing but in reverse. But will that put him under pressure to Hoggy? I definitely think so.
Yeah. Also, Lindsay, I don't know if the ACC thing's bugging, but it said that Steve did a 44.8 on the last lap, and his best lap of the whole race is a 44.4.
Oh, no, sorry, I misread my telemetry. Yeah, no, 44.8 last lap. Hoggy did a 44.1.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So that's a big deficit. Yeah,
sorry, I always think the one on the, so I have a little screen, and I always think the one on the right is the last, and the one in the middle is the best. And it's the opposite. I think it changed at one point in time. That's why. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's see what he does this lap around. Steve-O is coming through the last chicane, as that McLaren is getting closer. So let's see Steve-O around the final corner, flat out in the GT3 car with the old chicane being used. Very wide there, almost going onto the gravel there. Crosses the line, and it's a 44.6. So still a little bit down on pace, but he could very well fight that back with the tyre deficit towards the end of the race, as we've seen in history in F1 and other categories.
Yeah, and I think that a big example of fresher tyres being better, and I know it was a two-stop strategy, but you can't help but not but think of the 2021 Spanish Grand Prix with Lewis Hamilton pulling the extra stop.
Yeah, well, see, that scenario does apply because he just had that much of a fresher tyre, and it's sort of the same scenario here if Steve-O pits very, very, very late. He's just creating that tyre offset. Andrew Long just staying in a reasonable margin. The gap's 3 seconds. It's just been eking out slowly but surely. I think Hoggy, by the way, will absolutely be in the lead by a fair margin here, with the pace, with the rate he's going at over Steve-O. It's just more Steve-O can hunt him down in the final stages. We don't know what the gap will be, but I assume it will be a decent gap. As Hoggy crosses the line, he does a 44.6. So starting to drop in lap time now, Lindsay.
Yeah, and that's going to be really, really interesting. I think heading towards the end of this one, 21 minutes to go. We're not quite halfway through this one. There's still a lot of racing left to play out, but even then, Steve-O's also dealing with some lap traffic. There's, I don't know, honestly, with the lap times evening out.
Oh,
I don't know if Steve-O will hold on to this one, or if the Porsche eating its tyres will be the difference between him winning this one and just getting P2. There's so many different questions you could be asking in relation to that. I think race 2 is going to be the interesting one. I know I've said that a few times, but race 1's kind of more of a, as much as it gives the same points, it's kind of setting the stage for race number 2.
it does set the stage, but it also has its own stage because when there's such a differing strategies, it does come back towards the end and it will play out in its own way. So, like for example, this race, the stage here is that Hoggy has done a massive undercut and Steve-O has stayed out for a lot longer, and Steve-O will choose his time to pit, and when he does, I think he's going to have a massive tyre deficit and he'll then charge on and try and catch Hoggy back. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't do that. As we are now halfway through the race, pit window's only open for 14 minutes and 50 seconds, so there, Lindsay. So Steve-O Rees has approximately about, I'd say, 7 laps to 7 laps until he has to pit.
Yeah, I would say roughly that, as the pit window opens 5 minutes in and then closes 5 minutes in. And I have been given information, and I actually did notice it, but I didn't realize how significant it was going to be. Hoggy got moved while he was in the pit, so one, I think he missed his pit box. I saw him reverse a bit, but I'm not sure if that was the game. But he pulled into his box and he got moved on the jacks, which in ACC costs you a tremendous amount of time. So I think he's going to need a couple more really fast flying laps. That could be the difference between him winning this race and not winning this race.
Yeah, I feel like though with like the amount, like we've seen him go half a second, 7/10 faster consistently every single lap. So, oh, that's a McLaren going wide. I feel like with that deficit, that's going to very well make up and then gain him in the end. How do we know what a pit stop window sort of time is? Do we get a gap to a leader by chance? And do we know how long a pit transit time here looks? As that that Lexus looks very squabbly out of that chicane. And as I say that, Speed Racer pulls into the pit lane to make his compulsory pit stop.
Yep, the Lexus. It's actually, I was going to say it's bad on its tyres. It's not real. It's not terrible on its tyres. It's just not good on its tyres. And once that V8 is able to spin the tyres more than the TC can cope with, that's when you really see the issues with the tyre wear. And now he is coming in, and this will set him up well for race 2. He'll have a much fresher set of tyres heading into race 2, but he will have to bite the bullet and be back on these tyres at some point in the near future. But for the moment, he's in the box. So he entered the box at about 20 seconds. I'm looking at my timing tower. You can't see this, but he entered his pit box at about 20 seconds. That's not including the way in. When does he leave on his current lap time? That is what I'm looking out for. He's currently been in there for 20 seconds. As you can see, a little bit of a parking job into the pit box there from the Honda of Broads.
It's a very interesting livery on it.
Yeah, the Red Bull livery. I mean, it makes sense until Ford,
Watch out
but
for those people.
as there we go. So he entered the pit lane. Well, he entered his pit box at 20 seconds. He leaves at a minute. So that's a 40-second loss just from when he entered the box, not going into the pit lane and driving down with the pit limiter on as well. So probably add an extra 5 seconds to that as Piranat goes around the outside and gets that one done on Speed Racer to take that place. That's interesting. Speed Racer is now going to have to get an overtake on the Porsche. However, the deficit in straight line speed is going to be a big difference for that one. But yeah, this is going to be quite interesting now, because that tells us that the pit stop takes probably about 50 seconds. Steve-O, he's heading through, well, he's heading through turn 4. Yep, there we go. I was just trying to spot him. Hoggy is heading into turn 10. You've got to say, that's about 40 seconds.
Yeah, it's roughly. Actually, you know what, Lindsay? Whilst you keep commentating, I'm going to simultaneously start a timer, because obviously I don't think we can get a live sort of relevance. So I'm actually going to start a timer right here at about a rough point on the track map, and then when Hoggy gets that same point, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to tell you what that gap tells me.
I can tell you the gap. So, where's Hoggy?
Hoggy is just across the line.
Hoggy, yep. So, he's 1 minute and 6 seconds behind.
Wow. Hang on, are you sure? So,
Yep.
hold on. So, you
So
said...
Steve-O
that
is... So, when Hoggy crossed the line, Steve-O was 1 minute and 6 seconds into his current lap.
Yeah, so, let me just ask you this. So, you said that when... Oh, mate, in the Lexus, so Speed Racer, so it took him 20 seconds to get to the box.
So, yeah, it's about... So, when I looked at it, it took him about 40 seconds in the box to the exit of the pit lane. To get to his box, probably another 15 to 20 seconds. It's about 1 minute to 1 minute 5 pit stop.
Okay, right. That's what I was trying to ask. Yeah. That's what I was more wondering about.
Yeah, that's what I knew you were asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be extremely close. But the last lap time from Steve-O, a 44.8. The last lap time from Hoggy, a 45.1. Steve-O is extending the gap again on older tyres. He's absolutely flying. It's not that much older, 5 minute older tyres. However, that's still significant. That's quite significant here at Spain with all the graining. And Steve-O's going to take clear advantage of this. This is going to be fantastic. The pace has swung the other way. Now he's the quicker car again.
Yeah, now this is the risk you play with the undercut. When you pit so early, and you think, oh, I pit so early, I get a nice, undercut. You gotta remember though, the earlier you pit, you actually get a lesser of a deficit to the cars that you're racing against. See, because if you, for example, go for an undercut on lap 4, you only have 3 lap fresher tires than everyone else. It's not actually that much. So, Steve-O could have very well gone past his tires peak, but so could have Hoggy now. So now Hoggy's now in the same zone that Steve-O is. So now it's just down to sort of who gets more lap time out of their car, I guess. So if it's the case, obviously we didn't see Hoggy's lap, there could have been a mistake. We'll have to see what lap times they do next time around, but if it's a case of the Ferrari's tyres are now going off, then it doesn't exactly paint a good picture for him towards the end of this race. Because since I tried to measure the gap as best I could, there will obviously be, it won't be 100% accurate, but I got him at 1 minute 5.1. That's the gap that I measured him at.
Yep. Yeah.
As Steve-O has just done his fastest lap of the race. A 44.470.
However,
44.480.
However, it's not counting because I think he might have had a track strike on that one.
Yes.
Showing his best lap time still as a 4.80. However, he has gone quicker. Meanwhile, Hoggy continues to go much slower than his fastest lap. This is going to be
44.6. I'll see what he does now.
Yeah, he's currently 4 tenths down on his last lap. So, he's not going super quickly at the moment. Steve-O, I think he has this one in the palm of his hand.
He's got a grasp on it. He just can't mess up the pit stop.
Yeah.
He just can't mess up the pit stop. If he misses his box, as you said, that's going to cost him a fair amount of time. And it's not going to be very great for him. Because every second, by the looks of it here, Lindsay, it counts drastically. As look at him, he's using that track now. He is wringing the neck of the Porsche as we move on through this race. As Hoggy Lindsay comes around the line, and what lap time has he achieved?
He has done a 1 minute 45.0.
So it's swinging the other way now. I mean, I think he's had a mistake that lap because he's gone 4 times slower, but it seems like it's starting to swing the other way. As Andrew Long, actually, 6 seconds behind him now, as that BMW looking at just a little bit loose.
He could jump Hoggy.
He could. His lap times don't really suggest it.
He's 6 seconds off Steve-O, and Hoggy is a minute away. It's super close, actually. That could be a race towards the end.
It could be with the tyre offset, yes. So what has Steve-O done this lap, Lindsay?
Steve-O did a 1 minute 44.8. As actually, I will cast our minds back to the past. Maddie has reminded me this. I completely forgot. The last time that Fargone raced at Barcelona, Steve-O was drinking and driving. And if I'm not mistaken, Maddie, you can confirm this to me in the chat. That's the round he reversed across the line deliberately and still won the race.
Oh, what a legend. That's absolutely legendary behaviour. That's a one way to go sim racing nowadays. What oath.
Yeah, he was drinking and driving, and I believe he reversed across the line to win the race because he was that far out in front. So if that tells you anything about Steve-O, I mean, it should just paint the whole picture.
Yeah, it really should. And you can see there, Lindsay, now. The Porsche just struggling on traction, leaving some tyre marks on the road. Porsche starting to wear its tyres. There's only 5 minutes left in the pit window here. As Hoggy comes across the line, Lindsay, I'd be very interested to see what lap time he's done now. A 44.9, so he's a tenth slower, about half a tenth slower that lap compared to Steve-O. So this will be close on pit exit. And if the tyre offset is as powerful as we think it is, Andrew Long could have a chance towards the end of the race. But you've also got to remember this too, Lindsay. They've left it so late to pit that I feel like if they keep leaving it, that it could help them in race 2 with the newer tyre. But in terms of this race, they're not really going to have that much time to catch up if they need it.
Yeah, that is going to be a big part of this. Heading towards the next 5 minutes when they have to make their pit stop. Yeah, I don't know. And then heading into race 2 as well, Steve-O's going to have to start on... I think he'll... Actually, I think he'll start on his compromised tyres, wait 5 minutes, box, but then he runs into the same issue Longy did. I think he might start on his new tyres and then do this strategy again, but just have to box to compromised tyres, but hopefully have the gap by that point.
Yeah, it all depends how lap 1 goes. Lap 1, turn 1 goes, fella. Everyone, because, as everyone gets told, but don't worry, it's not true. You can win on lap 1, turn 1. You absolutely can win.
If you no longer go for a gap.
That exists, yeah, you're no longer a racing driver, correct. So, where is Hoggy on the track? He's coming around the last chicane. It was a 44.8 by Steve-O this lap, I believe. So he's not that far off his best lap, Lindsay. So maybe the tyre offset isn't actually that terrible, although Hoggy's going a lot slower than he was earlier. So let's see Hoggy to the lines. A 44.6 does go 2/10 faster this time around. So he does make a bit, no, sorry, 1/10 faster. 1 and a bit tenths faster this time round. So starting to make a gain again. It seems like the pace is around that higher 44 mark. It's just whether who can be more consistent by the looks of it.
Yep, and our much smarter chat warriors have told us that Steve-O is currently 1 second ahead of Hoggy.
Theoretically?
Yeah.
Wow, that'll be close. So he can't mess up the pit stop. Cannot mess it up.
And I'm assuming that he will be in at the end of this lap that he's just entered. He just did a 45.4. The tyres really starting to feel the wear now. This is now time for Steve to have a critically fast in lap, and I'll tell you what he's pushing. He's up on his best lap time at the moment through the first 3 corners, but this is a critical lap now for Steve. His in lap will be full push. He needs to come out ahead of Hoggy. This gap, the delta, is so close between the two of them, and it is going to be very, very critical that he makes no mistakes on this lap. Any mistake, and he will find himself behind Hoggy when he exits the pit lane, with not much time left in the race to make an overtake.
Yeah, absolutely. And a 45.4 doesn't exactly help his case here that much, as Hoggy is coming around the last chicane now. For his sake, Steve-O will be hoping that Hoggy's lap also wasn't exactly very great.
It's a 44.6.
It's coming around. Oh, Hoggy hasn't crossed the line yet. Hoggy comes across the line, and what has he done?
44.6.
Yeah, right. So he's gained 8 tenths, and he just told me it was a second. He's just gained 8 of that. So theoretically, we'll see what this lap is. As well, he didn't exactly get into the hairpin that well. We think he hit the brake pedal, but the tyres are just potentially so shot at this stage that he's just struggling to rotate the car, especially it being a Porsche. Oh, look at the slide. He's got the slide going. He's wringing the neck of the Porsche here. Powers through the chicane, and I think we'll see Steve-O in at the end of the lap. Oh, goodness me, as he struggles to get the car in there. He's just aquaplaning across the track.
There it goes.
Yep. Slide comes in. So this is critical now, Lindsay. This is absolutely critical. This is where the race can be won or lost.
Yep, this is now where the real race begins. This is where the strategy is going to be revealed. How has this worked out for Stephen Rees? I'll tell you what, he was only 3 tenths down on his best lap, even with all that sliding. He was going for it on that lap, and Hoggy is now going to be in hot pursuit. This is going to be exhilarating. Hoggy currently finds himself heading in towards turn 10. Steve-O just entered his pit box. His pit box is at the very end of the pit lane, though. We know exactly how long this pit stop is going to take. It is going to take 65 seconds from when he entered the pit line to exiting the pit line. Where is Hoggy? He's heading through the final chicane. This is going to be so incredibly close now as Hoggy's making his way into the final corner here of Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. This could be a drag race in towards turn 1. He gets his foot to the floor. Here we go. He's on the pit lane exit. Here comes Hoggy. They're drag racing down towards turn 1. However, Steve-O has a bit of a gap, but it's not much of a gap, and he's going to have cold tyres as he heads through turn 1. There is Hoggy. Steve-O just comes out in front with the mega overcut, and now with cold tyres but fresher tyres, can he hold on? Can he run away? It's going to take him a couple of corners to get the tyres closer to up to pressure. Hoggy has to capitalise in that time, but is it too late for his tyres?
Yeah, wow. Hoggy will be kicking himself because as you said, he stuffed up the pit box. He came in and he overshot it, Lindsay, and he's going to absolutely fuming with that. His last lap wasn't actually that good. He only did a 45.0, so he lost time on that last lap there. Just didn't quite get it right. And I would say that this is going to be comfortably done for Steve-O here, as my prediction of the gap being about 7 seconds has been completely thrown out the window here, because at the moment it's not even a second.
Yeah, the strategy has made this really close, and that gives you a bit of an insight into race number 2 as well, because it'll be similar strategy, but with just slightly more worn tyres. This is going to be really interesting into race 2, but this race really delivering at the moment. As you can tell, Hoggy's tyres are gone. That car absolutely has nothing left in the tank. If he didn't have a bad stop, this would have gone Hoggy's way. In fact, the strategy would have worked with 4 minutes to go. He would have come out 6 seconds ahead of Stephen Rees. However, bad pit stops do happen, as McLaren would tell you. And now it looks like it should go Steve-O's way here in race number 1.
Yep, comfortably so. He's pulled 7 tenths on this lap so far. 6 and a bit, actually, should I say. So Steve-O's got this one in the bag, just about held on there. So very well done, and he will cruise to the end of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and Griff has just said something in chat that I was about to say as well. Steve-O is going to have better tyres for race 2 as well.
Yeah. He'll have, yeah, well, they've both equally got the better tyre, because I can't remember. Actually, it's about the same, Lindsay, because the second the pit window opened, Hoggy was straight in, like immediately straight in to the box. So I'd say that their tyres are actually pretty even here. It's just more so, how do you play the strategy out? You know, if you box early, do you get traffic?
Yeah, that is a big question. As I want to say, can Steve-O break the fastest lap of the race while he's at it here as well? I don't think he's going to want to push the tyre, so I don't know if he actually will. But then again, of course he's going to push the tyre. He wants to try and get a gap, but he's currently 6 tenths up on his best lap time. That's going to smash the fastest lap of the race. He's a second up, 1.1 seconds, 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds up on his previous best lap time. In fact, he's going to blow the fastest lap out of the water if my delta is right. But another thing to consider as well, Geordie, is qualifying tyre. What set of tyres did they use in qualifying? That could play a part into race 2 with the tyre wear as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Steve getting all out of shape there. Goodness me, even that Porsche on the brand new tyre still looks like an absolute handful to play with here. As he comes to the line, what's the lap time?
No.
It's
Delta was broken. No. So sad.
Yeah, as I figured, because Lindsay, I noticed this. Steve-O actually lost time to Hoggy on the last lap. I think Hoggy was actually faster.
Yeah, Steve-O saving tyre.
Hey?
Steve-O would be saving tyre.
Yeah, there's a chance, even though he's got the slide going there. That's something too here, Lindsay.
Yeah.
He's now used his other set of tyres. does the Porsche prefer when it starts on the does the Porsche need a slightly newer tyre compared to the Ferrari? Although the Ferrari notoriously hasn't exactly been the best car on tyre wear. As that's a Ferrari going very deep. Lindsay, he isn't exactly dropping away here at the rate of knots. Actually, Hoggy looks rather closer than he did on the previous lap. That gap now down to 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, so it's not over yet, but I would imagine it's fairly management related. I think that Steve-O is just going to want better tyres, and you say, oh, he's sliding, but unfortunately that's just the Porsche. As much as you could be saving all the tyres in the world, the Porsche is going to slide. But, yeah, still, Steve-O has played this very, very well. I mean, I think, had that 6 seconds been gained, actually, Hoggy would have come 5 seconds ahead of Steve-O. Steve-O doesn't have 5 seconds in 5 minutes, so even if he full pushed and didn't save the tyres, I think that Steve-O wouldn't have won this one if it wasn't for a mistake, but mistakes happen in motorsport, and now as they head towards the final lap of this race, Hoggy will be thinking about that moment and definitely making sure he doesn't make the same error in race 2, but meanwhile, Steve-O has a parade lap home.
Yep, and approach the final lap, 45.5. Yeah, wow, he is on the tyre save at the moment. Not really using that tyre at all. As here we go, we have another battle back here. We've got Perinat right ahead of Perkins. Going into the final chicane, can Perkins launch an attack going onto the final lap here? As we have the Lexus just there of our Speed Racer. Came out right behind the Porsche, hasn't been able to make ground. And as they now start their final lap, moving to the inside, going to try and break the toe here as much as he can. The Porsche weaving everywhere. I don't think it's going to do too much because I don't think the GT3 slipstream is that powerful. Into turn 1, he's got a comfortable gap, and he will take turn 1 at apex speed. But he's got to be wary. Perkins here isn't exactly going to go down without a fight. As taking a nice wide line there. We've seen that with Perkins, especially earlier in this race. He takes a nice wide line through turn 3. Whether it works or not, I'm not exactly too sure, but it seems to be because it opens up the corner much more, and he's allowed to fire and put the gas on a lot more through there. Oh, as goodness me, the Porsche just having that little moment on the exit once again. Steve-O Rees is only just about going to get home in first place, but it's now 0.7 of a second, so he's really managing the tyre here by the looks of it. But he's done everything he needs to do. Hoggy will kick himself a little bit for that pit stop error.
Yeah, he definitely will, but here in race 1, Steve-O pulled off what was potentially considered to be the incorrect strategy. However, he took advantage of a mistake from a competitor, and he's absolutely flown away with it. It came close here at the end when the strategies came to blows, but here in race 1 in Spain, Steve-O wins over Hoggy by 0.7 of a second. A bit of time management involved from both parties, but now that sets the stage for race 2 quite well here. These two separated by nothing in qualifying, nothing in the race, and look at that. That is absolutely fantastic from the two of them. Race 2 will only kick it up another gear as Andrew Long comes home in 3rd from Eden. Nick coming home in 4th. That gap only 9/10 as Perinat will just hold on by 1/10.5 over Lee Perkins as Speed Racer comes home in 7th, a shy 1.9 seconds back from them. MJ should come home in 8th position, but really, really close there between the two leaders. Race 2, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. Race 2 has definitely got a precinct set up for it, and now it's just a matter of fact of who starts on what tyre. I think Hoggy's strategy was actually better because he used the new tyre very well. So we could very well see maybe Steve-O Rees copying that again, or maybe he'll want to do his same strategy again. Who knows?
Yeah, it is going to be quite close, but now, as we get ready to head in towards race number 2, we will be right back here at Sensational TV. I hope you enjoyed race number 1. Race number 2, just in a minute.
Simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments.
And we are back here on Sensational TV, so welcome back to the coverage. There is a minute until we get underway for racing action once again here for race number 2 of the Fargone Racing GT Challenge here in Season 22, for round number 4 at Barcelona. However, there's a lot to be played for here. 2 championship contenders not here in the running tonight. Steve-O took the race win in race number 1. Now heading into race number 2, if he wins it again, that is going to tip the championship completely on its head. He was looking to have redemption for a disconnect at Spa, and I think this could be the perfect redemption for that moment. And this is going to be really, really exciting and have big championship implications. So, Steve-O alongside Hoggy, strategy is now going to be in question, but something else is going to be in question. I thought of this while I was gone. And what if they used a wild card? One of the things you can do with your wild card is you can ask the other driver politely, but also they have to, get out of the way. So if Steve-O finds himself just behind Hoggy, or Hoggy's just behind Steve-O on the final lap again, they could just go, hey, I'm using my wild card, scoot your boot. So that is definitely something to consider, and definitely it could be race changing, but here we go. They go 2 by 2, Noah's Ark style, heading towards the start of race 2 here. So a lot of 2s on display, including the 2 in the number 42. But anyway, Steve-O, I'm not sure what tyres he's starting on. We don't know what any tyres are on the likes of these cars, so that could change the way this race starts. But once again here in Barcelona, the green flags are ready to fly. The green lights are ready to illuminate here as we head towards another 40 minutes of racing, and we're underway for racing action. Steve-O getting off to a good start. Hoggy getting off to a poor start, and he's now under pressure from Longy as they head into turn 1. It's a carbon copy of the race start here in race 2. He's on the outside of Steve-O again. He can't get it done. Meanwhile, as well, crucially, Eden Nick picks up a time penalty, not a time penalty, a drive-through penalty as Perkins moves up past Eden Nick, as there's quite a lot of fighting here as we head up and down the field. MJ as well was side by side with Broads, but Steve-O still leading the way from Longy, then Hoggy, then Perkins, then Eden Nick, who has a drive-through. Speed Racer, MJ, Broads, Tobasire, Demon Boost, Piranat, Ross, Shady is your order at the moment as they head through the end of the first sector. Steve-O definitely on a nicer set of tyres. If I had to say anything, at least by the eye look of it, he's already pulling a gap. He looks to have a lot of grip out there. I think he's on his nice set of tyres from the end of the last race. That's really interesting. That also means he's going to be compromised towards the end. Am I right? I don't know, but it just looks like it to me with the gap he's pulling. Hoggy on worse tyres, potentially, and I think he'll come in right away here in race 2 when the pit window opens and come in for a fresh set of tyres, doing a very, very, very similar strategy to last race that would have worked for him had he not made a mistake entering the pit box. So this is going to be really, really interesting in that regard. Meanwhile as well, Demon Boost and Dave Ross are going at it. Stephen Reese currently holds a second lead. Let's look here at Hoggy though. He is under pressure from Perkins, who is right there in the BMWs. In a BMW sandwich at the moment is Hoggy as they head in towards turn number 1. It's a long run towards the corner, and he's not going to be putting pressure on in front. Perkins not putting an overly big amount of pressure in towards turn 1, but Tobasire and Piranat are going to be side by side. Mustang versus Porsche. Piranat's very late on the brakes. Piranat gets it done potentially on Broads here as well, and they do get it done. Dampan Piranat moving up 2 places in 1 braking zone. We've got to watch that move again. That was 10 out of 10. That was fantastic here. Piranat got a great run on Tobasire in towards turn 1. I thought it was going to be an easy does it move. No, here we go. So Piranat alongside Tobasire into the braking zone. The late as you dare on the brakes, sweeping through side by side with Broads. What a move that was. Daniel Ricciardo style there from Piranat in the Porsche to get that done. Fantastic overtake. That will definitely go down as overtake of the night, and Steve-O definitely on fresh tyres as he has a 2.1 second lead. He'll be doing the same strategy he did in race number 1. Hoggy, I think, very, very similar in that regard. Tobasire, at the moment, currently in a bit of a sandwich. Broads in front, Demon Boost behind. As Demon Boost just falling off away a little bit. Hoggy is actually under a bit of pressure here. Longy not getting away. Perkins right behind him. He needs to either overtake or he'll be overtaken, I'm sure, by one of these BMWs at some point in this 40-minute race. So not ideal at all for Hoggy, but he does hold the fastest lap of the race. Steve-O leads the way by 3.4 seconds though, and actually was faster than Hoggy on that lap. He just got a track limit strike. So it's a 44.4 to a 45.6. At this point, Steve-O already beating his fastest lap from last race. For a bit of context, he's absolutely flying. As now here comes Hoggy. He has a great run through turn 3, in towards turn 4. Is he going to look up the inside of Andrew Long as they head into the braking zone? No, but he's pushing that BMW through the corner. Now, Hoggy's wide. Here comes Lee Perkins. Perkins on the outside. Hoggy defending the inside in towards the turn 5 hairpin, and just about Hoggy's going to hold on. Perkins backs out. Can't get the nose in for a switchback, and we'll have to live to fight another day. But Hoggy in the wars at the moment in this fight of a Ferrari and a BMW.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry for the... But hold up there, Lindsay. Back, and Hoggy being in P3, by the way, here. This is absolutely killing his race. He needs to be second place, staying as close to Steve-O as he possibly can. So he is hurting right now, and he needs to get moved on Andrew Long as soon as possible. Like, I'm talking like next, like this upcoming lap, he needs to get moved on. But Mr. Perkins here is right on the back of Hoggy here, so pit window opens now, Lindsay. So I wonder if I'll see a Ferrari pop into the pit lane right here. As by the looks of the strategy here, I think I could probably guess what tyres Steve-O and what tyre Hoggy's is on.
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious. And now, will we see the Ferrari in? Yes, we will. So it's going to be last race all over again, but with a bit of tyre wear in the mix. The pit stop, hopefully, let's stay with Hoggy here. If he gets pulled back, we'll know it's the same thing. If not, this is going to be a carbon copy of last race. However, there is going to be a couple minutes of tyre wear involved, and especially Steve-O will be weaker at the end. this is now going to be really exciting.
It will be. And I think Steve-O's tires, so here we go. No, he didn't get moved, so he nailed the pit stop this time. That's good. And one thing to note here too, Lindsay, is that last race, Steve-O didn't exactly pit at the last possible second. I think he pitted maybe a minute or two before the pit window closed, whereas Hoggy in the first race and now the second race boxes immediately. So I feel like the tyres he's putting on are probably fresher than the ones that Stephen Rees actually probably started on. So it'll be interesting to see. We saw a huge tyre deficit. Will we see it again?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting, as Hoggy didn't get a bad run into the box, so this is now going to be a real reference to what it could have been at the end of race 1. So this is where the strategy game, the 30-minute long strategy game begins, and I'll tell you what, another thing that really intrigues me is the fact that that wild card could get involved. If Steve-O wants to use it now for his championship gain, he'll pick up, if he is behind Hoggy, he'll still pick up full points if he just goes, hey, wild card, get out of the way.
It works the same for Hoggy though. So if you don't mind me asking, Lindsay, is Hoggy in a position to use it if he's simply just one position behind?
I believe so. There's
Yeah, right.
Longy's now in as well.
Well, if Hoggy's in a position where he intends to do that, then I guess it kind of works in his favour if he doesn't get ahead of Steven Rees, or unless Steve-O decides that he wants to use a wildcard for a later race, potentially. But as you said, Matty isn't attending. This is a great opportunity for him to get points back in the championship, so I'd severely doubt if that wildcard won't get used this race.
Yeah, as actually, hold on, let me double check my wildcard rules here, just so I'm absolutely sure. So, option 3. Play a wildcard and get a free pass on the opponent directly in front of you. Call your opponent out during the race and they are obliged to move over within 1 lap. The driver making the call must be within 2 seconds of the car they are falling out and directly behind them on the leaderboard. Calls must be made loud and clear over the voice chat. The driver called out has exactly 1 lap to let their opponent pass. The driver can called out cannot play a wild card to retaliate or offset the call until 1 lap after. If you call for a free pass halfway through the final lap, your opponent is not obliged to move over before the finish line.
Right, so it has to be done immediately. And Lindsay, I think what has happened here is that the BMW of either Nick? No, it's Andrew Long. No, Andrew Long pitted.
Yeah, he
So
did.
it was Longy,
He started on his bad tyres as well.
So wait, was Andrew Long ahead of? Yeah, he was. So Lindsay, this hasn't exactly gone well for Hoggy here. Hoggy isn't exactly in the position he wants. He needs to try and pass Andrew Long here as soon as possible.
Yep. But I don't think that Longy's going to be that much of a pest. I mean, he's not quite as quick as Hoggy, so he still needs to get past. But I don't think he's losing extreme amounts of lap time sitting behind Andrew Long. He's not a slow driver at all. He's last season's champion after all. And he hasn't been too slow. He only finished a few seconds behind Steve-O in race number 1. So I think it's still fairly safe to sit behind and just not be too aggressive. You still need to get past, but he doesn't need to be desperate.
Yeah, that's true. We also need to keep an eye on the lap times. I believe this is Hoggy's first flying lap, Lindsay, so we should probably get an update. So I'm not sure what's... So what has Stephen Rees done, Lindsay, on the last lap?
His last lap was a 1 minute 44.6. Hoggy,
okay, and
currently on to beat his best lap time. I'm not sure about Stephen Rees's as he heads through the final chicane and towards the final corner. So here we go. Hoggy rounding the final corner, a 44.6 dead to beat. He does a 1 minute 44.2.
Alrighty, so same scenario, but Lindsay, from memory, I think the gap was about 5 seconds when he pitted, so he's going to have to create that lap time deficit consistently over and over and over again. So if he's gaining 4/10 per lap, and he needs to gain 5 seconds, if my math is correct, then he is going to have to do that for roughly, I would say... Geez, I mean, that's a lot of laps. I'd say he probably needs to do that for the next 12 laps, most likely, 13 laps.
Steve-O just did a 44.4.
Yeah, 44.4. We'll have to wait a while until we see Hoggy come around the line again and see what he does. He will be getting a bit of a slipstream here from Andrew Long, but I think it would benefit him if he had the clean air most likely. Although Andrew seems to be going along nicely. He's got the lap times going. We'll actually see what lap time Andrew... Because if Andrew Long has pace here, Lindsay, don't exclude him from potentially spoiling the party here.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% true. You don't win a championship for no reason here in the GT Challenge, and he definitely took it to some of the best last season, so he's definitely not someone to count out, and I think, in fact, he's showing at the moment he's pretty much the same pace as Hoggy, if not a little bit quicker behind the wheel of that BMW, so this looks to be working for him as he heads through the final chicane. I think he's a bit of a dark horse in this one.
He is a dark horse in this one, but if he's ahead of Hoggy, then Hoggy's just as much in the same position as Andrew Long is. So let's see what lap times they do across the line now, Lindsay. Across the line, what does Andrew Long do? It's a 1 minute 44.3, and what does Hoggy do? It's a 1:44.3 as well. Oh, geez, he's barely slower. So 44.3. Steve O'Rees is coming around the final corner now. So let's see what Steve O'Rees is about to do. So through the last chicane. Oh, that Porsche is already on the slide very early into the race here. Yeah, traction struggling there, trying to put the power down around the final corner. And what is the lap time going to be? It's going to be a 1:44.9. So, bit of a gain there for those two on the last lap. 6.5 tenths on that lap there. So, making gains. Those two are, but they're going to have to hold that gain for quite a long time because they were about... Hoggy was about 6 seconds behind, and that Ferrari looked a bit out of shape. Hoggy was about 6 seconds behind, and Andrew Long was about 5. Sorry, no, I think Hoggy was about 5 and a bit, and Andrew was probably about 4.8 or 5, roughly. At this stage,
my free cam isn't working, sorry.
Yeah, I've seen this TV directory is rather interesting.
It's better than F1.
Yeah, the Coda stream wasn't too bad. Singapore stream, though, I think the TV directory I'm seeing from you could probably suit that very well. Anyway, moving on now. By my numbers that I'm roughly doing in my head, I would say that the theoretical gap between Andrew... Oh, goodness me, that Ferrari's going very wide. Would probably be... Actually, let's see what they do this lap, Lindsay. So around the final corner, what does Andrew Long do? What does Hoggy do? So Hoggy does a 44.3 again. What does Andrew Long do? Is another 44.3. Stephen Rees is coming around the final sector now.
He's on not a good lap, I'll tell you that. The delta of 2 seconds down.
Yeah, well, we've seen your delta isn't exactly the most accurate, so we'll see what he does.
They look alright at the moment, though.
Okay, yeah, well, fair enough. So around the final corner. And approaching onto the main straight. Around the final corner, flat out. And what is it going to be for Stephen Rees? It's a 46.5. So
something happened.
Something has happened because... Lindsay, I was trying to do numbers, and I was thinking the gap between, what's his name? Sorry, Andrew Long and Stephen Rees was probably seeing it about 3 point something, for about 3.8 seconds. After that, that gap's now theoretically down at about 1. Like, theoretically, it's down at 1.5 seconds. So, massive gains there for Andrew Long and Hoggy there. So, Stephen Rees cannot afford another lap like that, Lindsay. Or else, theoretically, he will then be placed behind the two that he's trying to beat today.
Yeah, and he can only get one out of the way with a wild card, so he's going to need to be right there or ahead. Mistakes like that aren't going to help him. Meanwhile, this battle is for 3rd position, and Speed Racer and Piranat are going at it. Tobasar as well, you can't count out him in the background, but the main battle is between these two, and look at that, the Porsche pushing the Lexus through the corners. Piranat really wants to get a move on here, but the straight line speed of the Lexus will be limiting them from making an overtake. But this is absolutely great racing between the two of them at the moment. It's the fast in a straight line car, the car that can't corner versus the car that can corner, but has the equivalent of a PLP50 engine in it. So this is going to be quite interesting when it comes to them trying to go side by side, because just look at the gain that Lexus has in a straight line. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Lindsay, I'm going to be calling on
Oh,
another...
Piranat's
actually, here
there.
goes the Porsche.
Piranat on the inside, all over the inside curb that can spin the car if you hit it incorrectly. Piranat took it like a champion, though. Tried to get alongside, did get alongside, couldn't pull it off around the outside of turn 12, though. That's really, really a good effort there from Piranat. Piranat now pulls into the pit lane. They do not want to part in this squabbling. They're losing too much time. They're trying the undercut now.
Yeah, they are, and as we've seen, it's very effective. So, Lindsay, I want to call again on another lap time check for our... So, Stephen Rees, 45.0. What has the other two done? A 44.3 again
They haven't
by
crossed the
Andrew
line
Long.
yet, but yeah, you'd
Well, they
imagine a
haven't.
44.3.
Yeah, well, even a 44, it doesn't even matter. If it's a 44.5 even, that's still a big gain for them. It's half a second, so they're making ground. We're we're approaching halfway through this race. And as you said, Lindsay, the wildcard thing absolutely matters a lot here. But the problem that Steve O'Reese will have is that if he pits very late and he doesn't have time to overtake the both of them, he can't use the card on both of them. He can only use it on one of them. So we'll have to see what the position looks like. But around the final corner, Andrew Long, he is showing great pace here, by the way, because Hoggy was very fast last race. So Andrew's doing good for himself. It's a 44.2, 8/10 that lap, and he is flying along. That's his fastest lap of the race. I presume Hoggy was probably about a 44.4.
Let me tell you, Hoggy 44.3 as well.
44.3. Well, it's 44. Yes, right. So 7/10 gain on that lap for Hoggy, 8/10 gain for Andrew Long. But remember, Lindsay, towards the end of this race, because we did see Steve-O, because what surprised me here, Lindsay, is that Steve-O was saving that tyre at the end, and it still just isn't hanging on that well. I remember this far into the stint of Hoggy's tyres, he was still setting, in the 44s. It seems like Steve-O's struggling a bit, unless he's trying to save his tyres now, but I just feel like he's letting himself get undercut a little bit here. Unless he's trying to just extend as much as he can. The other thing here too, Lindsay, is that he started on his good tyre, so it's not like he's going to be putting on a tyre that's exactly going to be very good either.
Yeah, as Justin Griffin saying in the chat, Steve-O's about 8 seconds ahead at the moment.
8 seconds ahead. I don't know how that could possibly work unless something dressed. That isn't exactly adding up because the gap unless these two...
And that's still long.
Okay, well that's interesting because when they pitted,
I can tell you the exact gap actually. Sorry, I'm gonna butt in here. So, Steve-O currently about a minute, just over a minute. So they're heading through the final corner now. So, hold on. When Longy's time hits 0, it's about a minute and 8 seconds, and the pit window is about 60 to 65 seconds. I would hazard on the guess of actually more like 60, considering the gap we saw through the pit stops at the end of the last race. It is about 8 seconds.
I don't really understand how on earth that could work because these two must have had terrible pit stop transfers then, because they pitted only about 5 seconds behind him, and now if they're 8 seconds behind him, then they've lost 3 seconds, yet they're setting much faster lap times.
Outlap loss, probably.
Maybe. I mean, I can't exactly see why that would happen.
They weren't very quick on their outlaps, to be honest.
They weren't? Okay, well then maybe that could be potentially the issue there, but nonetheless, that's completely dialed things down because by theoretical numbers at least, looked like we could have had a race, but by the looks of it, doesn't look like we're really going to have a race at all now.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It's actually, let me do something for you here, Geordie. I'm gonna change the screen you see. This one. There you go. You can still see that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not great because sometimes I have to go like that, but you'll see what I'm looking at. There we go. Anyway, so now my co-commentator in the box can actually see all of the information that I'm looking at lap time wise, so we don't have to flick between cameras all the time to see last lap times for him. But Stephen Rees, 44.3 on that last lap. He's picking it back up again.
He's picking it back up again, but he lost so much across those 2 laps. Interesting. Anyways, let's see the lap times. It's a 44.4 for Andrew Long, and it's a 44.3 for Hoggy there. So staying on, And now we'll see Stephen Reese coming around 2 corners now. As around the final corner, well, not around the final corner, last chicane, duck down to first gear, hit these 2 apexes, crucial to get the exit right here, throttle on, back up to second, short shift, and now run to the final corner, and then run to the line, and then what's the lap time going to be? It's going to be a 44.5.
Not slow at all.
He's only a couple tenths slower on that last lap.
Yeah, so we're going to stay on board with him this whole lap. Matty wants to see a whole onboard lap here in the chat, see how hard he's working. And I'll tell you what, you can see he's pushing pretty hard at the moment. He's got about, I want to say 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes until he's into the pit lane. If he wants to use the tyre that he has, he's got to use it now, because it's only a few laps till he's in the box. And you can see his delta on the top left for any of the viewers watching along here at Sensational TV. That's where he's losing, that's where he's gaining, that's how hard he's pushing, and you have his telemetry as well.
Yeah, wow, there's plenty to see here, Lindsay. So I'm trying to do numbers here.
It's about 5 seconds now.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Oh.
Whoa, that's a Porsche getting very loose indeed there. Goodness me. So a lap time around here is about, okay, so a lap time around here is about a minute 44, yes? So a minute 44. So that's what, 104 seconds, and the gap is roughly that. So, Lindsay, last race, we got the gap at about a minute and 5, and he came out about what, a minute?
You cut out there.
Yeah, so the minute was what? I think the gap was about a minute and 5, and he came at like a second behind him. I've got the gap currently at about a minute 8.
Well, we'll see now. So, oh, as
ooh, 45.0 that lap.
We'll go back.
Only a 45.0 that lap. We'll see. And what was Andrew Long and Hoggy like on the last lap? So gap was 44.6 to 44.4. So gap going down again. I think it'll continue like this. I think there could potentially be a race in our hands here. It's just whether it's very, very close or not.
Yeah, we'll see what the exact time is in a moment, because once they cross the line, we can see how fast Steve-O is into his lap comparatively to when they cross the line. But yeah, I think that gap, according to Griffin, that gap is now 3 seconds. They're closing in quite quickly at the rate they're going. And I think they'll probably be ahead of Steve-O when he needs to come into the box. Honestly, if I'm Steve-O, if I know this information, which he might not, they might not quite be on his relative, see how far they are behind. But if he can see how close they're getting, once it gets pretty close, I might just box a little bit early. As much as I'm on the tyre to defend, being the lead car surely has to help his case.
No, it absolutely would. So they cross the line, it's about a minute and... Okay, so at the line there, Lindsay, yeah, about a minute and 7. So gap's about 3 seconds. There's a 44.4 that time, 44.6 for Hoggy. Continually, that gap is shrinking. So there's a chance here, and you're talking about the track position here, Lindsay, but I just feel like if he pits now, he's just still going to be on the worst tyre. I feel like he's kind of in a position where if he wants any chance of, like, fighting, he has to pit as late as possible here. I don't really see what he could do else. I mean, I get track position's good here, but he's going on to a pretty worn-out tyre.
Yeah, I am thinking that as well. The tyres he's going to are pretty poor, as Griffin's saying, I wonder if Steve-O fueled heavy. Elaborate. Have they been taking fuel in the pit stops? Which is why the pit stops are so long compared to just the 25 seconds it should be to take tyres. Hold on. Elaborate, Griffin, because I'm not sure. I figured they were just going full tank from the start and then just doing tyres. I'm now intrigued.
Gap's now at a minute and 6, Lindsay, so theoretically it's about 2 seconds now, I think.
Yeah, I think so, and they're closing in quite rapidly here, lap by lap, and this is now getting really, really exciting. These two could end up the fight for the win in this one, and Hoggy will be biding his time. He's not been too desperate to get past Andrew Long, who's had fantastic pace as well. And...
Across the line.
just quickly, Griffin, it's tyres mandatory, not fuel. Yeah, so...
Didn't gain that lap.
Yeah, this is really close between these
Actually, we'll
three.
see in a sec.
Well, the gap... Hold on. I'm trying to do the live calculation. So a minute 30...
I just had it a minute and 6. That's what I just got in. That
It's a minute and 8.
Yeah, bounce back and forth. I got it a minute and 6.
Yeah, just basically, just for Geordie and I are looking at to see the gap. We have like a current lap time. So when it's Longy and Hoggy cross the line, when their time is 0, we can see how many seconds Steve-O's been on his lap. And for me, when I looked, it was about a minute and 8 seconds when their timer hit 0 and his was at a minute and 8.
Yeah, look, it's somewhere between that range anyway. I think if they're actually going to try and get ahead of them, they need to be punching out like low 44s. At the moment, their delta suggests that they're not too far down on their best laps, and they need to continue like this, because if they want any chance, they need to be lapping 3/10 a lap faster at least, I think. Or at least just be going faster. They need to be going faster than Steve-O every single lap, because the last lap, Steve-O actually gained on them. So it's not really working in their favour. The only hope that they've got here is that Steve-O's boxing onto a worse tyre. So we'll see around the final corner, what is the lap time going to be? It's going to be a 44... Is that a 44.6? Yeah, it's a 44.6, but it's a 44.7 for Hoggy. We'll see what Stephen Rees does as he's going through the final sector of the track now. Obviously, there are other factors that can play into this. He could have a bad pit stop, could very well have a bad entry, bad exit, outlap, etc. So we'll see around the final corner now. What's the lap time going to be for Stephen Rees? It's going to be a 40... 5-0, so decent gain there for Andrew Long and Hoggy that lap, but it kind of just only just out counters the gain that Stephen made on them the previous lap.
Yeah, it does. So they're going back and forth like a game of ping pong with their lap times at the moment, and Stephen Rees is just really forcing them to continue pushing. But what that also does, as much as he's forced to push as well, he's eating away at these tyres, but he has these tyres to use. He's pitting onto bad tyres anyway. He needs the gap. He's forcing them to wear out their tyres so they have more wear on them by the time they go to chase him.
Yeah, but he's also going on to really, like, they're more worn than what he's currently driving on.
Yeah, I'm thinking, though, by the time he boxes, they'll be about the same. In fact, these tyres might still be a bit better just because of track temp. I think that if you really think about this, by the time he comes out of the pits, they're going to be on very equal tyres.
They will be, so it'll kind of just be a drag race in pace, most likely.
Yeah,
well, let's see. Around the final corner, Hoggy hasn't seemed to have a great lap here. Andrew Long has a decent one. 44.5 that lap for Andrew Long. 44.9 for Hoggy, so struggling there. As what has happened as the gap has kind of extended there between...
Minute 8 again.
Well, let's see, because for me it said that I just counted it again at a minute 7. It's going back and forth. I'm not going to see much. I mean, Steven's on a good lap here. But look at the delta. Says he was going to do a very, very fast lap. So let's see, around final corner. And what is the lap time going to be? It's a 44.4. So...
He's flying.
Yeah, 1/10 faster than Andrew Long that lap.
Yeah, he is extending the gap, and then it's coming back in, extending. And I think what it is I think the Porsche maybe has one really, really quick lap in it, maybe 2. Then the tyres kind of go, no, I don't want to exist anymore. He has a slide, does a slow lap, then pushes again. I think that's kind of what's happening here for Steve-O, while these two just stay blisteringly consistent with their better tyres. The BMW and the Ferrari also not bad on their tyres, especially the BMW. And I'll tell you what, Longy's putting the pressure here to Hoggy, because that gap is 1.1 seconds. Longy could very well win this race.
Yeah, oh, because the wildcard could apply for Longy here too, but Longy's not exactly on a great lap here either, so he just needs to put a good sector in here, because at the moment, Stephen Reese is on a good lap here, Lindsay, because kind of suggested there that his delta was actually better. So he's flying, and Hoggy isn't exactly on a great lap either. It's not looking positive right now for these two. I actually don't think these two are actually looking to be in a position to actually catch up.
Gap's a minute 9 now.
Is it? Yeah, it's about that now, yeah. So they're not really flying, so Stephen Reed seems to have this one comfortably in the bag by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Steve-O on the slide there, though, heading through the end of this lap. He was dead even on a 44. I think it's set to his last lap time, not his best. On a 44.4 potentially. If not, then he's on for a 44.4 at the moment as he rounds the final corner. He's really putting some pressure on these two that are trying to chase him as he crosses the line for a 44.6. So
He was faster on that lap.
yeah, but only just. The amount they're gaining is not enough to get him. I think he's in this lap actually, if he does the same thing as he did last race. He's going to come out ahead just, and then it's just a matter of holding on. But those two will have worn tyres at that point. Their tyres aren't going to be great either. They're both going to be on very similar sets of tyres wear-wise. If he comes out the front, this is going to be really, really good. As thank you so much, Tom, for the dono. $3, mate. Faster wheel guns for Tobeside's crew. Absolutely love it. He's currently sitting in third with a pit stop to make. Appreciate that one. As a little bit of a sim chat going on at the moment about Project Motor Racing and Assetto Corsa Rally. I'm excited about those two sims. I don't know about you, Geordie, but I really am.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't really care. I just play iRacing and then my day is complete.
Yeah, I should have expected that. Why do I ask
I'm not
you
really
anything?
a rally driver.
I know you're not a rally driver, but Project Motor Racing could be fun. It could be like a good chill sim for when you're not being a nerd on iRacing with your pro license. But anyway, back to the racing. Stephen Reese heading into the final two corners before he has to make a stop. That gap currently about 4.2 seconds, the delta. Steve-O surely comes into the pit lane on this lap. No, he's going one more. He's cutting the pit window to the last second. So he has to be in at the end of this lap. This is going to be really close now. He needs one more quick lap. He did a 44.6 that time around. Andrew Long still on his lap. That gap, though, looking quite significant. It should go Steve-O's way here. This is going to be absolutely nail-biting to the finish here with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. This could go any way. Steve-O's pushing it really close here with the pit window. He might not even make it to the pit lane. It's going to be so close. I think he'll just get there. Just. But it will be really close. He gets a penalty.
Yeah, right. Well, Lindsay, he crossed the line at a minute 43, so he is on the edge. He needs to nail this out. Like, this needs to be a qualifying lap. He needs to use all the road. Plant the throttle on as early as you can. Screech the front tires. Do everything you can. Like, he needs to be doing absolutely everything in his power to try and make this car go as fast as possible. As Andrew Long and Hoggy aren't exactly on great laps, as, oh, maybe they are. Well, the delta is kind of going up and down. 44, yeah, no, terrible laps there. 44.8 plays 45.0, not that good. So, I think the only hope they've got here is that Andrew doesn't make it to the pit window, because at the moment he's going to come out well ahead of them. I had about minute 6.9, that's exactly what I saw it at, so he'll be ahead, but can he... Is it when he gets to the pit line, Lindsay? Like,
I think it is. Even then, he's cutting it close, though. 5, 4, 3, 2... Oh, he just hit the pit line. He just made it. He just made it. All you have to do is get to the pit line. Holy moly. He got there with probably 0.6 of a second until it hit 0. Holy, is he's...
Oh, he's hit the pit wall. What?
I don't know what he's doing.
What has gone on there? Lindsay, is our friend drunk here again? I'm hoping that's not damage for him, because if he's just giving
Either
himself...
he's just lost time, or he's not made it, and he knows that, and he's just hit the wall out of frustration. We'll see when he reaches the pit exit. I thought it was risky to go for one more. I didn't think he was going to do it. I knew it was going to be close.
Does he need to be out of the pit lane maybe by that time?
Maybe
Like,
it
does
was. I think actually, you know what Steve-O could have been doing? He might have just been watching this, watching the stream and hit the wall. We'll see though. 4 minutes to go in this one. He's in the pit lane. Where is Andrew Long? They're at the final corner. He's coming out of the pit lane now. It did count as a mandatory stop. He's heading down towards turn one. And once again, he's pulled the... No, he has a stop go. He got a penalty. It didn't count. Or did he speed in? No, that's a speeding in penalty, not a mandatory stop penalty.
Oh my goodness me, Stephen Reese. He cut it so fine. Lindsay, he panicked.
If he didn't speed in though, he wouldn't have made it though.
Yeah, he would not have. It was literally 1 second. Wow. So, Lindsay, we need to point back here because this is now on between BMW and Ferrari.
Yeah, that is such a critical error, but now with 3 minutes to go, the gap between Andrew Long and Hoggy is 1.3 seconds as Maddie has just been blessed in her championship run. That's less points for Stephen Reese. Not too many less, so I think he still comes home in third. Still a big points loss in the championship though. However, now our eyes focus on this one. Stephen Reese, a critical error. These two now get to share the spotlight as they duel for the win, but Andrew Long currently, with just under 3 minutes remaining, has one hand on the trophy, but it's nowhere close to being finished.
Oh, this is on now. So Stephen Reese out of the way. This opens the door. Andrew Long, the guy that last race seemed to be just chilling by 8 seconds back, doing his thing. Reigning champion. You said it, Lindsay. The dark horse. Actually might be the winner of this race.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. If Hoggy's within 2 seconds, he'll throw a wild card. I could almost guarantee it. As you can see, Stephen Reese in the...
You have to be within 2 seconds?
Yeah, you have to be inside 2 seconds to throw the card. So, they're on the penultimate lap now. They're heading towards the final lap. The question is Hoggy... Yeah. Is Hoggy going to be able to stay within 2 seconds? Obviously, I think he can. And then, surely he uses a card to claim the win. We'll see it very abruptly. And this is now going to be really, really interesting. Wild cards could change the course of this race.
Absolutely could. And sorry, let's just make the comment. Now that that pit stop window's done, it would make my life a bit easier if the game was more full screen, so I could actually read and see just a tiny bit better.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Yep. There we go. All right. Cool. That looks a lot better for me. So, oh wow, that's a much darker picture now. Right, so the gap 1.1 seconds gained on that lap, but Lindsay, I think we've seen through this entire stint, it's just been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Andrew goes faster, Hoggy goes faster, Andrew goes faster, and it just repeats itself constantly. It's a bit like the lap times compared to Stephen Reese. So, Stephen Reese, he will be kicking himself.
Oh, we know what happened to Steve-O now. Sorry to cut in. He said, I tried to fix my wheel in the pits, released the pit limiter by mistake.
Oh wow. That explains the pit wall.
Yep, that does explain the pit wall. But anyway, we head towards the last lap of the race here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And now, Hoggy has a decision. Does he try and attack on the track, which it doesn't look like he's... Oh, Hoggy track limits! He got a track limits penalty here on the penultimate lap of the race. It looks like he was going out there to try and use his wild card to take the win. Now, instead, he's met with a track limits time penalty. So of the three that were in contention for the win, if it goes the way we're looking at the moment, Andrew Long will be the only one that went without a steward's mark on their name. Andrew Long, he's been playing patient, he's been playing nice, not overdriving the car, and it is now showing. He's the only one left that was ever in this fight without a penalty.
Anything can happen at any moment, Lindsay. We say it constantly, and it's just showed itself again. He just hasn't put a foot wrong. Like Andrew, he didn't need to be the fastest one. All he had to do tonight was simply just not put a foot wrong, drive the car around at a consistently decent pace, and it's rewarded him, Lindsay, because the other two, Stephen Rees tried to fix his wheel, slightly different scenario. Hoggy absolutely has been firing it everywhere, trying to do everything he can to just try and get past Andrew Long and catch up to him, but it just hasn't paid off for him, and he's received a penalty because of that, and Andrew will be absolutely staggering by that. On the last lap too, Lindsay, the last lap, he got desperate, Hoggy. I think the start didn't go his way, and Andrew has capitalised on it.
Yeah, this race has been absolutely mental from start to finish, and now here in the final sector, after heartbreak for two drivers in the contention for the win, Andrew Long reminding us why he won last season's championship, rounding the final corner here in Spain in a dramatic race with twists and turns and strategy changes alike. Andrew Long wins in race 2, and that was a fantastic win there from Longy to take it home, and that is absolutely why you never count out a reigning champion. He is so cool-headed, and when the opportunity is there, he will take it. Longy takes the win in race 2.
Yeah, unbelievable. And Hoggy has crossed the line, by the way, because he had to drive through on the last lap. All he had to do was drive into the pit lane, and because the checkered flag is so early, Hoggy didn't really lose that much. Still finishes 8 seconds behind Andrew Long here, so very nicely done for just as the fireworks go off. MJ comes home in 4th. Pyramid gets on the podium. Speed Racer in the Lexus in 5th. Tobasaya comes home in 6th. Eaton Nick crosses the line in 7th. Perkins crosses the line 8th. I'm not sure what happened to him, Lindsay. He was right behind Hoggy at the start of the race, so something's happened there. Stephen Rees, the man who was on to win, but it just wasn't meant to be, I guess. Home in 8th place. Bros in the terrifying Red Bull livery comes home in 9th place, and Demon Bruce in 12th, and Some Shady did not attend the race by the looks of it, so that is... well, and that's your finishing order for tonight's race.
Yeah, as I would like to thank everybody here for watching tonight. Once again, apologies for the late start to the broadcast and then having to jump over to a different channel and whatnot, various technical difficulties, but what a great 2 races it was. Lots of strategy involved, and that was fantastic in race 1 from Stephen Rees. Came down to the wire in race 2 with even more drama and controversy coming from the steward's room. So, on that note, Jordy, do you have any final comments?
Being cool, calm, collected, like Oscar Piastri won the race today.
Okay. Anyway, hopefully that's what they say on Monday morning. Anyway, I thank you everybody for watching here for this round of the GT Challenge. We'll be again here next week for Nürburgring GP. I believe that's an endurance round. I will actually check right now, so I don't have my facts crossed up, but I do believe I'm right. Yeah, it will be a 90-minute enduro with an 100% chance of rain. So, if that doesn't tell you the Nürburgring is arriving, that is the Nürburgring there. Lots of rain in the Eifel region. So, until next week, that'll be me signing off here in the commentary box. I've been Lindsay Model. I've been joined by Geordie Slater. I thank you all for watching tonight's racing action, and I'll see you all next week. Good night.
Sensational TV YouTube channel. Don't fucking miss it.